Happy Sabbath, everyone. It's good to be here with friends. It's Kids Day, so we want all the kids to come on up and have their seats in the front row here. I'll be talking mainly to the kids. My suggestion is you listen closely as adults as well. There'll be a test later. So as the kids are coming up, I want to tell you about a dream I had. It was a terrible dream. Actually, it was a nightmare, and you were all there. I actually found out that I was going to be giving the sermonette, and I had a dream. And I showed up in sweats and a T-shirt, and I was completely not prepared at all to speak. Didn't know what my notes were, and I got up here, and I was just terrified. I woke up, and I couldn't get back to sleep. And I have my good clothes on, and I have my notes, and hopefully I'm prepared. So I have to ask you kids today. I have to ask you a question. I'll wait until everybody gets up here. Simple question. It's real easy. What are your favorite clothes to wear? What are your favorite clothes to wear? Xander. Okay, just a T-shirt or something comfortable. Anybody else? What are your favorite clothes to wear? Marshall? By the way, it helps to have a plant in the audience. Marshall? Sweats and just a T-shirt for him. Anybody else want to answer? What do you feel best in? What's just the most comfortable thing that you wear? No, Matt, you can't answer. Anybody else? Let me ask you this question. What are the clothes that you wear that make you feel the most special? The most special. Xander? We got two eager answers.
My favorite is my blue church shirt and blue
Tie.
and
These black pants. Kind of what you're wearing today. And it makes you feel special. Why does it make you feel special? They're nice. They're really nice clothes. Mm-hmm. So your parents went out of your way to get you nice clothes and make you look special, and you do. You look handsome. Marshall? Suit and tie. Yeah, when I was in the hospital, Marshall put on his suit and tie to come get me. I really appreciated that. Makes him feel special. Today, what we're going to be talking about is getting you all a new set of clothes. And it's really not that hard to do. We're going to get you a new set of clothes. That interest you? A whole new set of clothes. Hunter's saying no. Well, maybe you'll change your mind before we get through this. We're gonna go to a closet that has the most beautiful clothes in the world. The clothes that could change your life, will make you so likable, make you so beautiful. But before I get to that, I want to tell a story to the entire congregation about my experience as a kid. My mom every once in a while would look at me and she would say, you know, John, you need some new clothes. And that was an exciting time for me. It was not, because we were poor and I never knew how this was going to go. And what we do is we get in the car and we'd head down Central Avenue in Great Falls, Montana, and we'd drive by. At the time, JCPenney was there, and we'd drive by and Penny's would go by, and then we would go to Sears. So we'd go by Sears, we wouldn't go in, and Sears would go by, and then we'd come up to, there was a store named Bowlegs in Great Falls, Montana, and they had the coolest clothes, and we never stopped there, never. And I knew what was going to happen. There weren't a lot of places to go in Great Falls at the time in the 60s. We took that dreadful right on 3rd Avenue, or 3rd Street in Great Falls, and we went to a store called the Almost New Shop. The Almost New Shop. Now, we didn't always go there. You know, I got new clothes, but sometimes we'd go to the Almost New Shop. Do you know what Almost New means? It means used. It was no fun to go to the Almost New Shop. I never gave her a hard time about it, but we'd go in there, get what we'd need, and I would pray that I was wearing any of my friends' clothes. So, but it was not a lot of fun. It smelled funny in there. I didn't want to go in there. I never got to have the great clothes that some of the other kids got to wear, and it was kind of hard for me. So that's my story. But you know, we don't have to have clothing that we're not proud of. And the Bible actually reveals to us something that we can wear and make us different and make us unique and make us all very beautiful. If you'd all please turn to Colossians 3, please. Colossians 3, we've heard this so many times, but every once in a while it's nice to review that it's about choice making. A lot of life for us children here and us children out there is about choice making. You can choose these things today to actually appear and be different. Colossians 2, and I want to begin in Colossians 3. I apologize, Colossians 3, and starting in the middle of verse 12. I want to read this first. Put on compassion, kindness, humility, meekness, long-suffering. Bear with one another and forgiving one another. And if anyone has a complaint against another, even as Christ forgave you, you must also do. But of all things, put on love, which is the bond of perfection, and let the peace of God rule in your hearts, to which you were called in one body, and be thankful. So, for us, for you kids, sometimes it's a matter of choice making. For all of us, it's really a matter of choice making, isn't it? Every single day when our feet hit the ground, we can choose to have and do some of these things. So let's go through this. And I just assigned certain parts of clothing to this, but you get to choose to be compassionate. Does anybody know what compassionate means? It means to suffer with. It means to actually come along somebody and take care of them when they're hurting. You can choose to do that every single day. Some people choose not to be that way. What's the opposite of being compassionate? Well, you're a bully. Bully doesn't really care about anybody else's feelings, doesn't come alongside to anybody and helps them. You have the opportunity to choose every day to be compassionate. Let's make compassionate a shirt. You can choose to be kind every day. We could all choose to be kind every day. Kind words, kind actions. Let's make that our pants. We can choose to be humble. Not always take the first spot, not always take the biggest piece of pie, not always get what we want. We can choose to be humble. Let's make that our hat. We can choose to be gentle. We can put on and be kind and be soft-hearted and be gentle using gentle words. We'll say those are our gloves. We can choose to be patient. Every day we can be better, and we can choose to be patient. Let's say patience are our shoes. We can choose to forgive. We can forgive even those people who don't ask for forgiveness. You can choose every single day to do those things. Let's make those our socks. By the way, none of these have any meaning to them. I just want to make sure everybody's completely clothed. You can choose to love. Every day you can choose to love your friends and your parents and maybe those that are down and out. But it's about choice making. And let's make that your coat. And you can choose to be a peaceful person. So you've got your shirts and your pants and your hat and your gloves and your shoes and socks and coat and belt on. Let me ask you something. How do you look? How do you look now? Let's look in the mirror. How do you look? You're beautiful. You're beautiful anyway, but you're beautiful. Okay? You look in the mirror. Who do you look like? Does anybody want to say who they might look like if you wore all of those character traits? Who do you look like? Okay, don't say mom and dad. You look like Jesus. You put those clothes on. You can choose every single day these qualities to look like Jesus. You actually can. Because if you go back in 1 Corinthians 13, we did this a little while ago, you go back in 1 Corinthians 13 and it describes what love is. Then you insert your own name. John is kind, John is loving, John is patient. And then you insert Jesus' name in. Jesus fits there perfectly. Bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things. This is no different. You put on these qualities and you choose to have these qualities every single day. Every single day you have a choice. You choose to be more like Christ. But there's a key to it. Let's go back to Colossians 3 and verse 12 at the very beginning. Because unless you see yourself this way, unless we all see ourselves this way, this won't work. This is very, very important. Colossians 3 and verse 12, it says, "Therefore, as the elect of God, holy of God, and beloved, unless you see yourself this way, it's very difficult to consistently dress in the character of Jesus Christ every day. You have to choose to see yourself that way. You have to make a choice every day to take that from the closet and then begin the process of good choice making the rest of your day. Who paid for your clothes? Jesus Christ paid for you to be able to do all of this. Simply not possible on a consistent level to be this way. Let's turn over to 2 Corinthians 5 and verse 17. Just a couple more scriptures. 2 Corinthians 5 and verse 17. 2 Corinthians 5 and verse 17. I'll read that. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation, and all things have passed away, and behold, all things have become new. If you are in Christ, if you put on the characteristics of Christ, you truly are a new person. Every single day we have an opportunity to be different than we are. Every day we have a choice to make these quality character traits. We can become them. Now there's a whole section in Colossians and Ephesians that talk about bad clothing. Bad clothing. Taking one of the keys, especially as adults, is we have to remove those things that are nasty, that are un-Christ-like, that are unclean, that are unsightly, and that are not attractive to the gospel. Those are difficult, and we hope that you never go through those. I mean, every human being has something to change. For me, as an adult, I wasn't a Christian until in my into my 20s. So there was a whole bunch of things that I had to deal with in regards to that. So as adults, we have a responsibility to take off the old man, and the old clothing, the yucky clothing, before we can actually put on all of the things that Jesus asks us to do. You have such an advantage. You have an incredible advantage to be in this faith and to know about great choices. You know, I thought about this, going back to the Almost New Shop. That's the spiritual Almost New Shop, making those choices, isn't it? We don't want to go back. Unfortunately, we do sometimes. Sometimes we're more angry, and sometimes we're less kind. Sometimes we're less compassionate. We don't want to shop there anymore. We want to be able, and we certainly don't want to pass on our old clothing to our children, right? So you all have an opportunity. You can look in the mirror, and you can see Jesus. You can act like Jesus if you choose to. If you first believe that you're his elect and holy and beloved, and you are, it is up to you, and it is our desire that you make those choices.